Hey, Terry.
How you doing?
Good. Can you just explain your reaction to Brian Robinson and how you heard about the news and how you felt when you did hear it?
Yeah, I think I heard from a few of my teammates were texting me to ask that I hear about it, and I didn't really hear the specifics. And obviously, you can see it on social media what happened to him, and the first thing you were just thinking is like, is he okay? You know what I mean? Especially when you hear somebody get shot in multiple times, and B-Rob has been somebody who's come in here and he's fit in right away. Just the way his personality is infectious. The way he comes around here and excited to come to work. Always asking to see what he could do better. He's been somebody I've been able to mentor a little bit. So my main concern was just, was he going to be okay? Not football at all. And once we found that out that it was non-life-threatening injuries. He just wanted to continue. I just started praying for him and his recovery, not just physically but mentally, his support system around him, and then just for the guys that are affecting our locker room by that. And so it's good to hear from Coach Rivera and other people that he's going to be okay and make a quick recovery. And, is very fortunate. But I know he's going to take his time to get back, and I'm just glad that he's just healthy and alive.
In the last couple of years especially, you guys have dealt with quite a bit of adversity, tragedy. As a player, how do you deal with that?
You can't really predict it. So it seems like situations like this or some of the things that we've been through as a team over the last couple of years just kind of been out of nowhere. And so it's hard to just predict stuff like that's happening. But when it does happen, we try to come together. We try to reach out to the people who are affected. I'm a big believer in prayer, so I'm a big prayer person. So I'm gonna continue to pray for those people in these situations. And life is hard. It really is, and it's I think in our position where we're kind of at a higher standard and we play a kid's game, but get paid a lot of money, a lot of eyes and attention on us. People kind of forget that we are still human sometimes, and things do affect us on and off the field. So we just try to support each other and be a unit as much as we can. And I think we have a great support system from our coaching staff and the other guys in this locker room. Just you got a lot of guys and resources you can lean on. I think that's really important when we're going through a lot of adversity. And just as a leader, I try to put myself in a position to make myself available to help in any way that I can.
How did you start mentoring Brian, and what are the most important things you've tried to impart to him?
I think he kind of just gravitated to me a little bit. I can't quite tell you why, but I think we sit together in a lot of offensive meetings. He's like right next to me, so he asks a lot of questions. And I remember after his first preseason game, I was just telling him to continue to compete because he had a chance to really help us this year. And he was like, "Man, I'm just trying to." I'm just helping on special teams, things like that. And it reminded me of myself, because you're just humble in the fact that you don't necessarily appreciate the opportunities you have in front of yourself, like to really help the team. And you're just thinking, you want to help in any way possible. That's kind of his mindset. And he's, like I say, he's very excited when he comes out to the field. And, he's a guy who comes from Alabama, and Alabama and Ohio State are a lot similar programs. So I know he's built with toughness and trains the right way and has the right mentality coming onto the football field. But just the little things about taking care of your body, understanding it's a long season, you got to maintain your physical health, your mental health, and continue to learn. I think if you could stay on edge and continue to see how you could get better, then you'll always find yourself improving, because you never get complacent. And I think a lot of that stuff he knows, but hopefully coming from a player who's been here a little bit and has had a little bit of success, I think he gravitates to that. But I think just as a whole, he's a good human being, and he's a really great competitor. And so, it's just going to be good to see his face again when he's back.
I know you never expect something like this to happen, but when you go out in public, do you ever worry that something like this could happen, or do you take extra precaution or something like that?
Yeah, honestly, I was talking to my girlfriend about it last night. You kind of think about it like, I pride myself on just being a normal human being. Like when I go out in Ashburn or in D.C., like if I'm going to go see a concert, I'm seeing it like the other people that are there. And sometimes I guess you forget, like, you're Terry McLaurin or whatever. I don't really see it as that, but other people kind of do. And I don't see myself as a target or anything like that, but it just makes me try to be more aware, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I can't, live in fear and walk around thinking something's going to happen. But at the same time, you have to be vigilant. So, I don't really go too many places, but when I do, I try to, I don't really post my locations or things like that. I kind of just go about my business. But things are happening all across the world, and it's unfortunate. You never know what can happen. So you just have to, be as precautious as possible and, have people around you that they can trust. Like I don't really go a lot of places by myself.
Following up what Nikki was asking, kind of with Ron, he's had to deal with so much. How have you seen him kind of, address Brian and then just everything that he's kind of had to deal with?
Coach Rivera?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to get a football team together to go out here and win games, and then you got final cuts, guys' lives are going to be changed in a few hours. It's a lot, you know what I mean? And can't imagine what it's like for him being the head coach, and then, things like happen off the field with Brian and some other things that have transpired in his personal life. So I respect the way he goes about it. He's never really hung his head low or had like a pity party for himself. He's always say he has broad shoulders, and it's easy to say that, but when things start to happen to you, you really get to see the character of a person, and I think he handles it well. He tries to be as honest as he can in these situations, so the team's informed, and I think that helps us to feel like that we're in the loop as well.
As his health has returned, have you noticed a difference in how he kind of conducts himself at practice, or does he exert more energy, those type of things?
I think he's always been involved, to be honest. I don't think he's changed much at all. I know he missed a few days here and there when he was going through treatments, but since he's been on the field, he's always encouraging the players and talking to us and setting the tone and the tempo for each practice and each period. And I think that's just something that's been consistent to who he's been since he's been here.
Terry, this is probably a little bit too premature because this just happened yesterday to Brian, but earlier this season, all the DC, or most of the DC sports teams got together, started wearing orange to create awareness for gun violence.
Right.
Have you thought, or maybe even had maybe some talks about what we can do more now because it's now affecting you guys directly?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really gotten that far quite yet. And, I saw Coach Rivera wearing his shirt. And, I think it's unique because we have a platform to try to get the message out even more so, and especially when it hits close to home. And I just don't think it's a DMV area. It's, across the country. There's a lot of gun violence going on, and it's unfortunate. So me personally, I don't quite know what to do. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know, but any way I could try to use my platform to bring awareness or support people in these tough situations, I'm going to try to do that along with the other guys in our locker room. So I think that's kind of just our mind frame, and just right now just really supporting Brian and getting him back to full recovery.
Terry, obviously a day like this puts football into perspective, but did want to ask you about that now that you've gone through camp in the offseason. How do you kind of feel that you and Carson have connected, progressed throughout?
I think it's grown a lot, especially since the first week. We're definitely connecting a lot more than we were, and I think that's good. I think you have to accumulate a certain amount of reps to start getting comfortable with quarterback and a receiver, and I think we've gotten a lot of reps this offseason, gotten some good reps in the game as well, and even the things that don't necessarily show up in the games or practice, we talk through on the sidelines or in the meetings. And I think that's really cool just to have a guy that's so communicative like he is. And he's easy to work with. And I think he's a guy that we could really continue to grow together, and not just myself, but the other guys in our room. I think he's going to continue to give us chances to make plays down the field. He gives us a chance to really, just kind of play a little bit of backyard football as well, which is, personally what I like. And, because everything is not going to quite be as clean as you want it to be. But if you can have a quarterback who's problem solving and a receiver that's problem solving, you can make the play work. And I just want to be somebody he can really trust. These situations, third down, game on the line, that he could come to me and I'm going to do my job. And that's kind of just how I've always tried to carry myself since I've been here. And it's been great working with him. It really has. And he's just a really good human being. And so it makes it easy to work with a person like that.
And back to Brian, you obviously have gotten to see him practice and play this summer. What is it when he's able to return, hopefully? What does a guy like that, what does his style do for a receiver like you? How does that help you in the offense?
Yeah, I think he has a really downhill running style. I think when he sees the hole, he hits it, and he hits it really hard. And he does a really good job of making those first defenders miss, whether with his agility or his power. He's a tough guy to tackle, and I honestly saw him when he was playing at Alabama, and I was like, dang, that dude could really run the ball. And now that he's on this team, you get to see it in person. And just like I said, his enthusiasm in which he comes to practice and wants to get better and help the team. He runs with a style that I think that could really help us and possibly open up a lot of our play-action game. But like I said, I think first and foremost, you just want to make sure that he's good mentally and physically whenever he does get back. And, it's great that we have the other backs in our room, JD, AG, J. Will, and the other guys who can really help us out as well and do what they've been doing before B-Rob even got here. So I think that's, I guess one plus to how things are right now.
When you talk about his personality being infectious, is he was he kind of a guy who was like JD loud, or just a quiet guy where you just could feel it more? What was his?
I think it was more so just you can feel him when he's on the field. Like when he runs the ball, when he's running through the tackles, when you're not tackling out here, but when he's making thuds against the defenders, like you could feel him running behind his pads. And I think when you have that kind of running style, I think that wears on a defense over the course of a game. A young guy like himself where he could probably take 20-plus carries, and he's improved so much as a pass catcher as well. I think, when he gets back fully healthy, the sky's the limit for what he can do and how he can help this team. And, I think he helps AG as well, them two being back there with JD, being able to carry the ball and catch out the backfield. I think he just adds to another piece of weapons that we could have on this offense to be successful this year. And, like I said, I'm just looking forward to see him back healthy and smiling again. But just his personality is something that he really comes in and he's quiet, but you feel him on the field, and then you could kind of tell he's getting more comfortable and get to know guys because he's joking around and having a good time, which you love to see. And you can honestly feel that he wasn't there today. So I think that's just one of the more indicative things when a young guy who hasn't even been here that long, you feel when he's not on the field.
That's what I was going to ask you about, how much you guys noticed that, but also just when you hear that in the meeting room, what's the reaction of the team? And were you curious to see how everybody responded in practice, and how did you feel they did?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, you don't want to say we've gotten used to tragedy or things that have gone on over the last few years, but things have happened on and off the field for this team the last few years, so we've learned a lot to really take the time and appreciate what's going on, because you can't just breeze over it or just move past it because we got to play football, because again, we're human beings and it does affect our our mental and just the way it just shakes your whole day when things like that happen. But we also understand that we still have to do our job and come out here and practice hard and prepare. And I think, like I said, it starts really with Coach Rivera and how he comes and addresses us in those team meetings, kind of allows us to know what's going on and how do we move forward. He sets that standard, and then as leaders we try to echo that. And I think we have a good mix of young guys who follow the old guys and the veterans to understand that we still have to go out there and get better.
Have you had a chance to talk to Brian yet, or just text him?
I have not. No, I haven't got to talk to him yet.
And just talking about kind of his character and everything, does he kind of have that work ethic that, obviously you have an incredible work ethic. Do you see a little bit of yourself in him with that?
Yeah, he's a lunch pail guy. That all the cliches, punch the clock, and he comes in here and works. And I remember looking at him. I'm sorry, that was funny though. He's just a guy that comes in and he doesn't complain, and he just works and works and works. And I know he took a lot of workload in those first 2 preseason games, and you could tell he was kind of sore, but he came out there and practiced real hard. I think you can learn a lot about a player by just off his actions. And he's not a big talker. He's an action guy. And you could tell by the way he runs the ball. You could tell by the way he practices. And you could tell by the conversations you have with him on how much he wants to help this team and get better at his craft. And, he's somebody who, I know he's taking more and more ones reps, but he's still learning from JD and AG. He doesn't feel like he just got it. And I think that's something that's really important and cool to see in a young player, where they're getting more and more opportunity to run with the ones, but they're still hungry enough as if they're trying to earn that spot. So I think if he can continue to keep that mindset, he's going to be really successful.
Darren, last one.
I'll do my up-downs later. We talked about Ron and all the ups and downs he had to deal with. And I'm just wondering from your perspective, because you're one of the guys who've been here for a while now, everything that you had to face while being here, especially this year, you have the Haskins situation and now this. Like, how would you describe your emotions as they continue to go up and down here?
Yeah, I think for me, I've really benefited from, seeing a therapist and talking with him, and it's allowed me to have an outlet. My family, my girlfriend, my teammates, I've really learned to lean into my support more. I think a lot of times, just people in general, it doesn't have to be athletes. You feel like you're alone, but I think also it helps to learn that you do have the support, and you just sometimes have to open yourself up to receive that support and to receive that love and that care that you need, because the more you harbor it in, the more you hold it in, it just festers up inside, and you blow up or you react in ways that are not necessarily indicative of who you are as a person or your character. And you want to try to minimize that as much as possible. But I think just understanding how empathetic we all have to be as human beings to everybody's going through something. And if you can help them in any way, I think showing that grace, showing that empathy is extremely important, because a lot of people out here really put on a brave face and they're battling the real life stuff inside. And just having that awareness as a human being has helped me continue to grow and lean into the people that I have. And I think it makes the load a lot lighter when you don't feel like you're carrying it alone. You have an outlet to where you can see yourself growing as a human being and healing from some of the things you've been through.
Thanks, Terry.
No problem. Appreciate you guys.